Imagine you just like aced a massive presentation at work. I mean, you and your core team completely knocked it out of the park.
Oh, yeah. That is the best feeling.
Right. The client is thrilled. The board of directors giving you a standing ovation. Everyone's high-fiving. And then for the very next crucial meeting, your boss walks in and just swaps out almost everyone in the room.
Wait, like benches the people who actually brought home the win?
Exactly. Just replaces them with a completely different crew. I mean, it sounds a little crazy, right?
It sounds like a guaranteed recipe for a mutiny, honestly. Or, at least a very confused HR department dealing with a massive drop in morale.
Yeah, exactly the kind of chaos you'd normally want to avoid. But that is precisely what is happening in the world of international rugby right now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Welcome to today's deep dive. We are looking at the South African national rugby team, the famous Springboks, and their head coach, Rassie Erasmus.
Right. A legendary team.
Absolutely. And we've got this really fascinating report from Planet Rugby, dated July 6th, 2026, detailing Erasmus's absolutely shocking team selection for their upcoming clash against Scotland on July 11th.
And we really need to, contextualize this for you, the listener, because this isn't just some minor tweak to a mid-tier team.
No, not at all.
This is a fundamental overhaul of a squad that is currently sitting at the absolute pinnacle of the sport. I mean, they are the reigning heavyweights.
So our mission today is to unpack the method behind what looks like absolute madness. We want to figure out, why a coach would completely scramble a winning formula.
Right. What's the end game here?
Exactly. What do these specific 10 changes signal about South Africa's master plan? And how exactly is this totally new look lineup specifically designed to counter a really massive, highly motivated threat from the Scottish team?
Because when you're operating at this elite level of any profession, let alone a physically punishing sport like international rugby, every single personnel change sends a message.
Yeah, it's never an accident.
Exactly. It's never just about giving someone a turn to play so they don't feel left out. It is deeply, sometimes ruthlessly, strategic.
Well, let's get right into the friction of this strategy then, because the big headline from the Planet Rugby reporting is really jarring. The Springboks just finished absolutely hammering England.
A huge win.
A massive emotional victory. And Rassie Erasmus responds by making 10 changes to the starting side. 10.
It's unheard of.
I have to push back on this logic immediately, though. Momentum is basically the holy grail in sports. If you just hammered England and the chemistry is clearly firing on all cylinders, why on earth would you throw a wrench into your own engine?
It's a great question.
If I'm one of those starting players who just won, I'm furious.
Oh, human nature dictates, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And your reaction is exactly how traditional sports media reacts too.
Right. It just feels backwards.
It does. But Erasmus, he operates on a completely different philosophical plane. What's crucial to understand here is that this overhaul isn't born out of dissatisfaction.
Okay, so he's not mad at them.
No. He isn't punishing the players who beat England at all. He is playing a much longer, much more complex game of chess regarding squad management.
But doesn't that risk a cold start? You're bringing in guys who haven't played at this intensity in weeks, maybe longer.
Yeah.
Are you really willing to sacrifice that, international match fitness just to save some legs?
Well, you kind of have to. Because in a brutal international season, fatigue is a silent killer.
Fair point.
Yeah, according to the source material, Erasmus's stated goal is about building unshakable depth and actively managing workloads. He explicitly told the media, and I quote, "We told the players from the outset that we would give as many of them a chance as possible to play this season."
So everyone knew this was coming, theoretically.
Exactly. Rugby at this level is akin to multiple car crashes every weekend. You just cannot physically run your top 15 guys into the ground week after week and expect them to be fresh when the knockout tournaments arrive.
Okay, so it's attrition management. But the article also notes he isn't just rotating blindly. He wanted to maintain, some continuity from the England game while bringing in players who are the right fit for what Scotland brings.
Yeah, Erasmus isn't just shuffling cards here. He is completely redesigning the vehicle for the specific terrain.
Okay, I like that analogy.
He isn't throwing darts at a roster to see who gets a rest.
Yeah.
He is assembling a highly specific group to dismantle a very specific opponent.
Well, let's look at the few pieces of the original vehicle he actually did keep. The survivors club, so to speak. Up front, in the forward pack, the big guys doing the heavy lifting, only 3 players kept their spots.
Just 3.
Yeah. We've got Paul de Villiers, Ruel Nortje, and the captain, Pieter-Steph. Though even with the captain, there is a major shift. The article notes he is moving from lock back to flanker.
That's a significant move.
For those of us who don't play, what is the actual difference in the job description there? Are we talking about, like, moving a quarterback to running back?
It's a really good question because the distinction definitely matters. It's more like moving an offensive lineman to a blitzing linebacker.
Oh, wow. That's a big shift.
Yeah. The lock is the engine room of the scrum. Their primary job is to provide sheer, unyielding, forward-pushing power and, secure the ball in the air during lineouts.
So lots of grunt work.
Exactly. A flanker, on the other hand, operates on the edge of that formation. They are the guided missiles. Their job is to break away instantly, hunt down the opposition's playmakers, and aggressively tackle basically everything that moves.
So it requires a completely different type of cardiovascular fitness and spatial awareness.
Immense tactical flexibility. But keeping your captain on the field, even in a slightly different, highly demanding role, it provides that vital connective tissue.
Right. He anchors the team psychologically.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The new guys coming in can look to the captain who just beat England and draw a ton of confidence from that stability.
So you keep your captain in the trenches to anchor the forwards, but who is actually steering the ship? Because this is where the strategy gets incredibly aggressive. He is essentially handing over the keys to a completely different driver.
Yep, the playmakers.
Manny Liebach is out at fly half, despite the article explicitly noting he controlled the game excellently against England. And stepping into that crucial role is Handre Pollard.
Handre Pollard is a fascinating figure to bring up in this context. The fly half in rugby is essentially the quarterback.
They call the shots.
Right. They dictate the pace, they decide when to run, when to pass, and when to kick for territory. And if we look at the sidebars in the Planet Rugby reporting, there is this fantastic quote from a Springbok great about Pollard.
Oh, what does it say?
It says, when BMT counted the most, Handre Pollard was the one that stood up.
BMT, big match temperament. It's one of those intangible buzzwords you hear in sports broadcasting all the time, but break that down mechanically for us. Why do you swap out a guy who just played great for a guy with BMT right now?
So, big match temperament is essentially the physiological ability to perform not just despite extreme pressure, but because of it.
Oh, they thrive on it.
Exactly. It means when the game is chaotic, when the Scottish crowd is deafening, when the stakes are at their absolute highest, your heart rate actually slows down. You make clear, clinical decisions while everyone else is panicking.
So Erasmus is subbing out his fast, flashy sports car in Liebach for, an armored tank in Pollard because he knows the match against Scotland is going to be an absolute trench war.
That is precisely the calculation. Against a highly motivated Scottish team, having a fly half who radiates that ice-cold control is a deliberate tactical choice to neutralize the opponent's early enthusiasm.
And right next to that ice-cold execution, we have easily the most surprising name on this entire roster, scrum-half Embrose Papier.
Oh, this is a great story.
The reporting notes he is making his first test appearance since 2018. That is an 8-year absence from the national team. How does a player even stay on the radar for almost a decade without getting a call-up?
8 years in professional rugby is several lifetimes. Think about the physical toll on the body, the constant evolution of the game's tactics, the endless conveyor belt of younger, faster talent coming up behind you.
It's a young man's game, usually.
Exactly. For a player to fall out of the elite national squad, swallow their pride, and fight their way back almost a decade later is exceptionally rare.
It really reminds me of the corporate world. An employee starts at a massive firm, realizes they aren't quite ready for the top-tier pressure, leaves, spends a decade quietly mastering their craft at a smaller regional company, and then suddenly returns to the main firm as a senior executive.
That's a perfect parallel.
The article actually mentions Papier earned this spot back after a stunning couple of seasons for the Bulls.
And it speaks volumes about the psychological environment Erasmus has engineered. In many national sporting setups, if you are dropped for a few years, you are permanently written off as yesterday's news.
You're just done.
Right. But selecting Papier sends a shockwave of a message to every single rugby player in South Africa's domestic leagues. It says the door is never locked.
That's incredibly motivating.
If you put in the grueling work at the provincial level like Papier did with the Bulls, you will be rewarded. It incentivizes the entire country's talent pool to never, ever stop grinding.
Okay, so we have Pollard driving the armored truck and Papier bringing this incredible 8-year comeback energy. But if Pollard is the one distributing the ball, who is he delivering the payload to? Because the deck shuffling continues straight into the midfield.
Yeah, the back line is almost entirely reimagined.
We have Damien Willems, who the article referred to as sky-owning. Just a fantastic visual, by the way, for a guy leaping to catch high kicks. He is shifting from fullback into the center to combine with Jesse Creel.
A very interesting tactical move.
I'm trying to picture the geometry of this. Why move a sky-owning player who usually operates in open space at the back of the field right into the congested, heavy traffic middle of the pitch?
It is entirely about multiplying your offensive threats. The traditional center is often a crash ball runner.
Like a battering ram.
Yes, a big guy whose job is simply to smash into the defensive line and create a dent. But by moving Willemsy there, you are putting an extra, highly elusive playmaker into the midfield.
Oh, I see.
He retains the field vision and the tactical kicking game of a fullback, but now he is operating much closer to the defensive line.
So instead of Scotland just worrying about Pollard or Papier kicking and passing, they suddenly have a third guy who can distribute the ball creatively right in their faces.
Exactly. It forces the Scottish defense to hesitate for half a second longer, and in international rugby, a half second of hesitation is all the team needs to score.
And because Willemsy shifts up, Fassi takes the 15 jersey at fullback, and we have a completely changed back three with Edwill van der Merwe and Kanan Moody on the wings.
So much new blood.
But I want to jump back to the big guys up front, because this is where I think the real danger of this 10-change strategy lies. Evan Roos gets the nod at number 8, and there's a brand new front five. Copus Wise, Wilco Liu, Johan Grobbelaar, and Bowen Venter.
That is an astronomical amount of turnover in the tight five. The tight five is the literal engine room of the squad.
Right. You're replacing the whole front line. Isn't a rugby scrum basically a synchronized 8-man pushing machine?
It absolutely is.
If you have the strongest guys in the world, but one guy breathes at the wrong time, the whole thing collapses and you get penalized. How on earth do you build the necessary unspoken chemistry with a brand new front five in less than a week of practice?
If they were just meeting for the first time, you couldn't. It would be tactical suicide. But this is where Erasmus shows his absolute genius, and it raises a critical detail from the source material regarding the venue.
Oh, where are they playing?
This match against Scotland is being played at Loftus Versfeld in Pretoria.
Which is, wait, that's the home ground of the Bulls, right? A major South African provincial team.
Precisely. Erasmus explicitly pointed this out in his press conference. He noted that many of these new combinations have been playing together all season for their provincial teams.
Oh, wow.
Johan Grobbelaar, Embrose Papier, Ruan Nortje, Wilco Lau. These guys play their domestic rugby for the Bulls. They practice at Loftus Versfeld literally every day.
So they know the field perfectly.
They know the exact dimensions of the locker rooms. They know how the turf feels. They know the specific wind patterns inside that stadium.
That is brilliant. So he isn't trying to build chemistry from scratch in 5 days. He is basically outsourcing the team-building phase to the provincial leagues.
Exactly.
He's skipping the awkward getting-to-know-you phase entirely.
He is taking a highly functioning, pre-assembled unit from the domestic level and elevating it wholesale to the international stage in their own backyard. These guys aren't learning how to push in a scrum together. They already have deep instinctual chemistry.
They just swapped the jersey.
Right. They are just putting on a green and gold international jersey instead of their blue provincial one. It takes what looks to the media like a reckless, chaotic gamble and reveals it to be a highly calculated, data-driven optimization.
That completely changes how you view a 10-player swap. But starting strong only matters if you can finish the job. If Scotland survives that initial onslaught of returning provincial players, Erasmus has laid a very specific, very heavy trap for the second half.
Oh, the bench, yes.
Just talk about the bench.
In modern rugby, the replacements are often more vital than the starters. They are the closers who dictate the final 20 minutes when everyone else's lungs are just burning.
Well, the Springboks are reverting to a strategy they are quite infamous for. The 6-2 split on the bench, meaning 6 massive forwards and only 2 nimble backline players.
A very heavy bench.
The article notes that a hybrid player, Andre Esterhuizen, was specifically left out to make room for this heavy artillery. So you have guys like Jan Hendrik Wessels, Vincent Chituka, and Elor Lau waiting in the wings.
Just absolute powerhouses.
And covering the entire backline, just Grant Williams and Quan Horn. I have to ask, is a 6-2 split just pure, unadulterated physical intimidation? Does it just mean South Africa plans to brutally outmuscle Scotland in the second half?
It is undeniably a statement of terrifying physical intent. Rugby is ultimately a game of attrition. By the 60th minute, the starting forwards have been hitting each other like trucks for an hour.
Their legs must feel like lead.
Exactly.
Oh.
So when you can suddenly bring on an almost entirely new pack of 6 massive, fresh, highly aggressive forwards against a battered and tired Scottish defense, the psychological impact is devastating.
It's like a wave crashing over them.
It is a boa constrictor strategy. You don't need to be flashy. You just slowly, methodically squeeze the life out of the opposition's defensive line.
But the risk factor has to be off the charts, right? If you only have 2 replacement backs, what happens if your starting winger snaps his ankle in minute 5 and then your center gets a concussion in minute 10?
You're in serious trouble.
You have no more backs. You'd end up with a 250-pound slow-moving forward trying to defend against a lightning-fast Scottish sprinter on the wing.
It is a massive calculated risk, and honestly, teams have been punished for it before. But this extreme tactical gamble brings us directly to how South Africa views the Scottish threat.
How so?
This 6-2 split, and indeed this entire 10-man squad rotation, is actually a sign of profound respect for Scotland's capability.
That seems entirely backwards. Swapping out your winning team and putting all your chips on a risky bench strategy is a sign of respect.
Absolutely, because of the specific profile of this Scottish team. Erasmus points out in the article that they had a very strong Six Nations campaign, and they are coming off a grueling, tough-away victory against Argentina.
So they're battle-tested.
Yes. He calls them a quality team that is well-coached. He knows they're going to be, in his words, psyched up.
Because everyone wants the scalp of the world champions.
Exactly. There is a fantastic perspective in the Planet Rugby reporting from former Springbok Bob Skinstad. He claims that South Africa has a massive target on their head and that they are embarking on a year like no other.
That pressure must be intense.
When you are the standard bearer, you never get an easy Sunday afternoon game. Every single opponent you face treats their match against you as if it were the World Cup final.
So Scotland isn't just going to roll over quietly because South Africa recently beat England. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at them from the very first minute, playing with absolute desperation.
And Erasmus, being a master of psychology, knows this. He explicitly stated they need to be switched on from the first whistle and accurate in all departments. Think about human nature again. If he had played the exact same 15 guys who just went through a brutal, emotionally draining war against England, they might have come out slightly flat.
Potential hangover effect.
Right. They might have subconsciously lacked that desperate, clawing hunger.
So by making 10 changes, he injects 10 guys into the lineup who are absolutely desperate to prove they belong on that field.
There you go.
Embrose Papier hasn't played in 8 years. You better believe he is going to play like his actual life depends on it. Evan Roos at number 8 wants to prove he should be the undisputed starter every single week.
Exactly.
The motivation isn't something the coach has to yell about in the locker room. It is fundamentally baked into the roster selection.
That is the true genius of the strategy. You counter the opponent's high motivation with a massive artificial injection of hunger into your own squad. The 6-2 split then acts as the anvil in the second half.
He'll like squeeze them out.
You let the highly motivated new starters run themselves to absolute exhaustion for 50 minutes, matching Scotland's frantic intensity, and then you unleash 6 fresh monsters off the bench to finish the job.
Wow. So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Because let's face it, most of us aren't coaching an international rugby team facing down a fired-up Scottish squad at Loftus Versfeld.
Probably not.
But there is a massive, incredibly practical takeaway here for everyday life. Rassie Erasmus' strategy isn't just about sports. It is a masterclass in organizational leadership and resource management.
It absolutely translates beyond the pitch.
It is about the danger of resting on your laurels. Just because you had a huge win yesterday, like the Springboks beating England or you acing that presentation we talk about at the top of the show, it doesn't mean the exact same approach is the right tool for tomorrow's problem.
It rarely is, honestly.
Right. It takes real courage to trust your broader talent pool. It takes courage to rotate your team, to manage their long-term energy, and to tailor your approach to the highly specific challenge right in front of you, even if it means benching your stars.
And if we connect this back to the absolute highest level of competition, we've spent this whole time talking about how this impacts the players on the field. But consider for a moment the profound psychological warfare this inflicts on the opposing coach.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that.
When a leader successfully builds a B team that is so incredibly fluent that it matches their A team in quality and execution, it completely nullifies the opponent's scouting department.
Because how do you even watch game tape on a team that changes 10 players in a week?
You can't. How do you prepare a defensive strategy when the enemy can completely change their fundamental DNA overnight? They go from a flashy open field team one week to a heavy trench warfare team the next.
That's terrifying for an opponent.
It begs a really fascinating question for you to mull over in your own industry. Are you just playing your own game and reacting to the market, or are you actively designing your organizational moves to make your competitor's entire playbook obsolete before the game even starts?
That is a phenomenal thought to end on. You don't just want to win the match, you want to make it impossible for the other side to even plan against you. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the high-stakes, deeply strategic world of Springbok rugby and the brilliant mind of Rassie Erasmus. Keep questioning the playbooks in your own life, and we will catch you on the